Right.
Sorry, do you mind us sticking it to your
No,
jumper?
please do.
It's an
Only
M&S
cashmere.
jumper, isn't it? Blue Harbour. Right, now he's now got his kitchen porter. What do you say to Jesse for making that, Christopher?
Jesse, I'm really thrilled. You've done.
a pleasure.
No, you've done a.
Anyway, thanks a lot, mate.
He's off.
Oh, Roy, sorry.
Yeah, no, okay, bye.
Bye.
Right, now, Lukewarm. Lukewarm. You
Yeah.
were brilliant as Lukewarm. Now, working with Ronnie Barker and the lovely Richard Beckinsale and the guys who wrote the scripts, Ian Lafreni,
Dick Clements
and Dick
Ian
Clements, it must have just been. I would think your finest hour.
Well, it was certainly the most extraordinary thing I've ever done comedy-wise, and it was such a thrill to work with someone like Ronnie Barker, I can tell you. When I went along for the interview, I met Sid Lotterby, who was the producer-director, and then they were telling me that what they were doing, and they were doing this series, and would I read for this Lukewarm, and I read, and then I got the offer, and I can't tell you how excited I was because the prospect of working with him. And
we were arguing today over how many you're in. Jesse thought you were in just about every other one. Foxie said you were only in a
dozen.
few. But we remember you being in just about every one. How many did you do?
Well, I think I did about 8 or 9, I think, out of the whole series. It could be a bit more. And it's interesting because, the other thing is that a lot of people think I did the whole series of was I Claudius because it was so well written, Nero. But that was only one episode. But anyway, going back to Porridge, I mean, it was extraordinary. And the joy of it was Ronnie Barker being a comedy actor, not a comedian. So he wasn't selfish. He was selfless. And if he felt that one of Dick Clements or Ian Lafrene's lines was better said by me or somebody else, he would give it to us. And that's what makes him the great comic actor that he was.
Where were the internal shots of the prison done?
They were done at Elstree Studios in a swimming pool.
What, the stairway?
All that stairway and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so they built down. So the bottom of the swimming pool was like the ground floor, and then they built up from that.
No,
yeah, it's very clever.
Really? And did they have to keep rebuilding that for every series? Or?
No, I think it stayed up there as a permanent thing for this as long as the series
We'll
went
just
on.
take another call. Hi, who's this? Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, who's that?
All right.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Have you ever had one of those on the radio before?
Funny enough, I do a very good seagull.
Go on then.
Do you know that guy was holding on?
No, that was just his laugh.
Right, so, and what about Richard Beckinsale?
Oh, and he was fantastic, unbelievable. But the tragedy, of course, was his death. And I remember I was making a film of The Tempest by Derek Jarman, and we were up in Northumberland, and I was in this hotel, and there was in those days there was no telephone in the room, so the manager came knocking on the door, and he said, "Would you come down? The Sun newspaper want to speak to you." And I said, "The Sun?" I thought, "Oh God, what have I done now?" So I go downstairs, and this man said to me, "Richard Beckinsale's died," and it was such a shock because, of course, he was so young, so brilliant, and extraordinary. I mean, the most amazing actor who would have gone on to be the biggest star ever, I think, if he'd lived. Interestingly enough, that when we did, in 1974, we did the first episode, I was on £90 an episode. And if it's shown now on BBC One or BBC Two, terrestrial television, I get over £1,000. So that has been a big earner for me over the years.
What about if it's on UK Gold? Pardon?
I nearly said the word that I shouldn't have said.
Not a
Nothing.
lot.
You're joking.
Nothing. Equity saw fit when UK Girl was starting up to give them everything for nothing. So we get nothing at all. Now,
because there were some Morecambe and Wise shows on from about 68, 69 on UK Gold a few years ago, and then suddenly it all disappeared.
Well, I think because, and I think now Equity should start charging. We should earn some money because they have whole porridge weekends in which we get absolutely not one penny.
When was Porridge actually last on BBC One or BBC Two? Because it hasn't been for a long time.
Oh, it was on last year.
Was it?
Yeah, there was a couple of episodes. Because I got a fee, a check came through.
I bet you rub your hands together.
It's fantastic. I won't tell you what Ronnie Barker's widow must be getting because I know, but I'll tell you afterwards.
That's very kind.
Off camera.
Right, let's take a break. Any questions for Christopher Biggins? I don't think we kind of finished on the lukewarm thing. I just think is fascinating. But I want to quickly, before the break, ask you about Minder, because you played a camp Camp Taylor.
I did.
In Minden. And I remember Arthur kept going in, I think it was a pinstripe suit, and you would, I don't know if they did any inside leg measurement gags or anything.
I think there was.
You sound surprised that he's playing this camp role. You're not getting it, are you?
But George Cole and Dennis Waterman, what are your memories of it? Because I love it. I've been getting them all on DVD and sitting down with my boy who's 9, who just loves it when he calls him Terence instead of Terry. And they were
George Cole was wonderful.
George Cole, so well written,
yeah.
and beautifully filmed in and around London. What do you remember about Minder?
Well, I don't remember that much from it because it was just a couple of scenes I did. I mean, and I wasn't that into it as a series on television, but I mean, I know that everybody absolutely adored it, and I know that Dennis Waterman had a hard time because, of course, he played that hard character, and he was always getting people coming along wanting to pick a fight with him, and I think that sort of really got to him in the end, and it's very interesting now that the Little Britain character that they do, and I'd heard that he absolutely hated that on Little Britain, and I thought he was a really good sport to go on and do the show and go into that scene and said, "What are you doing?" And he actually sang the song in one of the shows, which was on Comic Relief last week. I think that was very, very good of him to do that because apparently he's not that keen on the
I didn't know
the send up of the whole thing.
Do you want to say anything before we go to the break, Foxy?
No, I want to talk to Christopher about Scylla and the whole entourage, but maybe we'll hold
Yes.
that one.
All right, we'll be back in a mo if you want to give us a call. 01983
Laura laughs.
822 002. How's your armband?
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Peter Kay has done it again.
Did you present the last big breakfast as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
You've just googled that.
No, I remember that.
No, I love doing that.
Did you do it?
Live television. You see, the first 3 episodes of Surprise, Surprise, first 6 episodes of Surprise, Surprise, we did live to 15 million viewers. And I remember when
When was this? Was this late 80s?
yes, it was. And when Alan Boyd, who was the producer, Scylla had always finished on a song. And she finished on the song, and during the song, Alan came to me and said, "We're 6 minutes under. You've got to go and take her from the moment she's waving goodbye and say, we're a bit under. Let's go back and talk on the sofa." And she thought I was gone mad, and it was one of the most exciting moments to go back and know that you could just talk about anything within reason. Very, very exciting television. Live is the best. So that's why I love the big breakfast.
Did you do a few of them then?
I did about 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
Who was doing it at the end? Lisa Tarver?
No, Vaughan.
Johnny Vaughan.
Johnny Vaughan.
What about radio? Have you ever done much radio?
I love to do radio. I think radio is great. I mean, I listen to the radio all the time in the car. I love it. But now, I mean, have you heard? I mean, I'm not that fan of Russell
Brand.
Brand,
No.
and his radio show on Saturday night coming back from Worthing. Unbelievably bad. It doesn't make sense.
No, I
There's
can't.
nothing, no interest. I mean, I think one of the great radio.
Oh, we're back on.
Oh, well,
Big Al and the Duck Unleashed.
it's Jonathan Ross.
That's what I need to check.
Oh, I love it.
219.
Right, we're back with Christopher Biggins, 01983 822 002. We'll check, see if we get any emails in, and I wanted to ask you about what you think of Peter Kay, Russell
Wonderful.
Brand, Little Britain. We mentioned Little Britain. Who do you like and who don't you like?
I love Little Britain. I mean, the boys are great friends of mine. And when I was doing pantomime, Matt had his civil partnership. And we were invited, but I would have got there about midnight if I'd driven, because I had 2 shows on the Sunday, and so I didn't go, sadly, because I was exhausted anyway, and to arrive at a party at midnight was not on. So, but the theme of the pantomime was pantomime. The theme of the civil partnership was pantomime. And the next day I was in every single newspaper because David Walliams went as me.